Trisha Krishnan carries herself with a grace that feels earned, not styled. When she speaks in interviews, there's a calm assurance in her voice, an ease that comes only from having lived through multiple phases of success, silence, reinvention, and survival. She doesn't speak like someone trying to prove relevance. She speaks like someone who understands her place and is still curious about growth. From her earliest days, Trisha has often reflected on how unexpectedly life unfolded for her. She has shared that she never entered cinema with a grand long-term plan. Modeling happened first, then films followed, and suddenly she found herself navigating an industry that was larger, louder, and far more demanding than she had imagined. In interviews, she has admitted that her early years were about learning on the job, understanding the camera, language barriers, emotional expression, and the unspoken rules of stardom. What makes Trisha's reflections compelling is her honesty about longevity. She has openly spoken about how difficult it is for women to sustain long careers in cinema, especially in industries that are constantly chasing the next new face. Instead of resisting this reality with bitterness, she talks about adapting, emotionally and professionally. She has said that every few years she had to reintroduce herself to the industry, not by being louder, but by being better. Trisha often shares how success in her early 20s came fast, but maturity came later. She has spoken about mistakes, trusting too easily, overworking, not listening to her body, and tying her self-worth too closely to external validation. Over time, she learned to slow down. In interviews, she frequently emphasizes how saying no became as important as saying yes, and how protecting her mental and emotional space changed everything. One recurring theme in her conversations is self-respect. Trisha has mentioned that there were moments when stepping away felt safer than staying visible. She has been candid about phases of burnout and health challenges, explaining that healing required patience and privacy. She speaks about those periods not as interruptions, but as necessary pauses, times when she rebuilt herself away from the spotlight. There is also a deep sense of emotional intelligence in how she talks about relationships, both personal and professional. She doesn't romanticize fame. She has shared that the industry can be lonely and that learning to be comfortable with oneself is a survival skill. Her interviews often touch on the importance of friendships outside cinema, routines that anchor her, and staying connected to life beyond sets and scripts. When Trisha discusses her more recent work, there is a quiet pride, not in numbers, but in choice. She has expressed how meaningful it feels to be trusted with strong, layered roles after years in the industry. She often says that age has given her freedom, freedom from comparison, from urgency, from fear of missing out. Now she chooses roles that resonate with her inner world, not just her public image. What stands out most is how she defines femininity. For Trisha, strength doesn't mean aggression, and softness doesn't mean weakness. She has spoken about embracing vulnerability, acknowledging fear, and still showing up with dignity. Her confidence today feels less about being seen and more about being at peace. Trisha Krishnan's beauty, then, is not just in her presence on screen, but in the way she has evolved, with grace, resilience, and self-awareness.